Hey everyone, this is Misti-Dawn with the Manamal Streaming Radio, talking to lead vocalist George Gregory from the band Killing Tyranny. Thanks so much for joining me today, George. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Misty. Thank you for so much for having me. I really look forward to speaking with you here on the Manamal Streaming Radio.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that too. Now, can you give us a brief story how your band came about?
Yeah, basically, I was in some other bands that were around town. Basically, let's make a long story as short as possible, but I came from Detroit, Michigan, and I had my own music and everything that I came with that I had written with a band called Outrage that I had basically streamed. I was the head of everything in Detroit. I came out here and I re-recorded that stuff with some semi-famous, well-known LA musicians, and we were playing up in LA and kind of just bouncing around a little bit up there with our demo, trying to get people to really recognize us, when I got noticed by some former musicians that were in some larger bands, and we formed a band called Ironworks here in San Diego. So we started playing a lot and kind of got a little known here in San Diego. So when that other band reformed and kind of left me on the sideline, I sat back for a couple of years, wrote some songs, and started to put together the project that is now Killing Tyranny. And what I did is I went into studio in 2013, and I started putting together these tracks and getting this stuff together with some hired guns, hired musicians. And basically I put together the first CD that came out, which was Martyr. And Martyr actually started probably, I don't know, a year after it released. It started catching some tailwind, I guess you would say, in the UK and some of the other areas around. And we were being asked by local as well as other people, where we playing and what we're doing. And at that time, I really didn't have much of a band together. I'd had hired guns and hired these hired guns to do this CD. So then I put the band together by finding the musicians that wanted to play the music, and we started Killing Tyranny. And that's kind of how it started out with the first CD that came out in 2015, which was called Martyr, which is on all digital media, which you can find. And now we're starting to kind of get some notoriety now that we've dropped our second CD, Church of the Twisted Prophet.
Now, going back to Martyr, all of the songs were your own original material, correct?
Correct. Now, Martyr has some songs that I collaborated with Frank Kowalski, who was a former member of Sanctuary, Grinder, and a few other bands. Like I said, he was in some other bands that were famous, and we were in Ironworks together. So what I did is I contacted him and let him know that I was going to use some of the stuff that we had worked on together. So two of the songs that appear on, one of the songs that appear on Church of the Twisted Prophet has a song that me and him wrote together, and two of the songs Martyr. So going back to Martyr, there were two songs on there that me and him wrote. The rest I wrote 100% music and lyrics myself.
Now, that was politically controversial, which kind of spilled into your new album. Why did you decide on this type of album?
Well, I mean, honestly, I think there's a lot of things going on in our society that, we need to talk about. And I think that, I say things at our concerts too sometimes that, I just want people to think a little bit. I think the reality is that we need to understand that there's only one race, and it's the human race. And we oftentimes, segregate ourselves either by culture or by, religion or, and we're constantly battling each other. And at the end of the day, that's really what those in power want, because they want us to fight amongst ourselves and not focus on what they're doing. And my thing was to try to put together something in the lines of the past people that have influenced me, John Lennon, people that, Bob Marley, these people that tried to be socially conscious in their music along and reaching people. That was kind of what I wanted to do.
Now, I can hear nuances of a lot of metal bands through the years, like Judas Priest, maybe Slayer, and even Metallica were the ones that came to mind. Now, can you walk us through the songwriting and production process of the new album, Church of the Twisted Prophet?
Absolutely. Well, basically, Church of the Twisted Prophet kind of moved forward off of Martyr. As again, it started picking up speed. We went back into studio. We knew that Martyr was picking up speed, so we wanted to get right back into studio and not slow the momentum down. Basically, Martyr came about with some songs that I had already written, and I basically went in and we do a process what's called scratch tracks. And you come in and you, to a metronome, you time out your scratch tracks so that you have everything in time, and you're able to put together basically which is the raw format of the songs. And then at that time, how we start our production is once we have a scratch track with scratch guitars and scratch like automated drum machine or whatever the case may be, then we pull in the drummer and have the drummer basically lay down tracks. And once we have good foundation of drumming to the scratch tracks, we build off of there. We do bass, and then we'll do guitars, and then like melodic accents to those guitars, then eventually leads. Usually the last thing is the vocals, but every once in a while that can kind of change up a little bit and maybe lay the vocals before you finish this on the guitars or whatever. But basically that's kind of the process of trying to build from the bottom up. You want to have a real strong foundation so that you just like when you're building a building or anything else, you want to have a strong foundation so that what your product at the end of the day is really strong. And that's what we hope we've done here with Church of the Twisted Prophet.
Now, do you do all of the songwriting?
Currently, right now, I do all the songwriting. Me and the band that right now are working on new stuff, just because that's what we always wind up doing. And I know we just dropped this CD, Church of the Twisted Prophet, but as far as Church of the Twisted Prophet goes, I do all of the writing. I do all of the lyrics and a lot of the guitar parts. And when I say the guitar parts, I mean some of them are, very basic and what guitarists would call root chords, meaning that it's just the root of the song. It doesn't have the accents. It doesn't have like what would be harmonies or anything like that guitar-wise. So a guitarist wouldn't always, necessarily feel that it was even relatively close to being done, but it's the core structure of the song to give them the idea to start working off of.
Now, one of the things that impresses me a lot is that you guys have only been together for 5 years, right?
Yeah, and then see what's funny is in that 5 years, the band itself has only been together about a year and a half, maybe almost two. The rest of the time was basically me in studio and getting everybody together and playing in studio before we were playing out together. So what I mean is that we've only been playing out live for about a year and a half, maybe a little longer, coming up on 2 years. And yeah, the albums have been dropping. The first album dropped out 5 years ago, but the reality is that the band itself has only been out and playing a little over a year and a half to 2 years.
You guys sound like you've been playing together forever. I mean, it just works. Now, did you have instant chemistry with everybody right off the bat?
Yeah, we've been through some changes and some people in and out, but right now we feel that we've got a really good chemistry and a really good core group. We know that, that life is always full of changes and there's always something that happens that is not what we want or something unforeseen that happens that, you kind of got to adjust to or deal with. But, at the end of the day, if you got like-minded individuals that feel real strongly about the music and the direction of the music, and then, of course, what's being said in the music, and trying to deliver a message that, is socially, aware, then that comes together in the chemistry. And really what it boils down to is not so much really just, looking for individuals that fit as much as it is finding individuals that believe in what you're doing.
What was the first release off of this album? And can you give a premise of a few of the songs?
Absolutely. The first release off this album, and really what's funny is this new album is because it is so new, there's really only one song kind of floating around more of like the release, and that would be Douche. And I know everybody kind of tongue-in-cheek laughs when they hear the title, and they even snicker. It's a really great song, and they even snicker. hearing, the song itself. But the reality is it's pretty simple, because the reality is that if you're a politician and you're in power and you're somebody who can actually make choices to help people or hurt people, and you're hurting people and lining your pockets in the process and trying to do these things that not necessarily help people, then you're a douche. and I understand it's comical, but basically, that's how the premise came about, was like, if you're not helping people and you're not doing something and you have the ability to help people, and I guess that is not politicians. I mean, granted, most of this is talking about politicians or people that are empowered that can help make changes, but I think it kind of comes down to our everyday life too. If you're in the position where you can help somebody, I don't care if it's a guy on a street corner who needs a damn sandwich and you got the sandwich and you can make the sandwich and go out to him and give it. If you haven't done that, you're a douche.
Absolutely, I agree with that very much so. I mean, it is a word that people just kind of, it's just something that makes people chuckle. But I mean, when you hear how you are using it, it's it's completely different. It's different, but it's not, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it certainly does. And the premise behind the whole thing, because I have put that twist on there, I understand, and I'm trying to use that little comical angle, but I'm also trying to get you to think that, let's have some, responsibility. And I mean, every one of us have a responsibility, whether it's a responsibility to have our voices heard politically or socially to make some change, or it's a responsibility just to help somebody who you can see is struggling and you have the ability to do so. Those are the things that make us human.
Absolutely. Now, I love this entire album. It's great. And Scandal's by far my favorite. I mean, I love them all, but Scandal is my favorite. What song on this album represents you as a band?
Oh, wow. Well, that's a funny thing, because it's kind of hard to put that in, quantify that into just one song. I kind of agree that Scandal is really a good song. Church of the Twisted Prophet itself is another good song. Politician is a good song. It's really hard to quantify, but I think that because the band is so diverse in some of our backgrounds and basically some of the stuff that we want to try to put together, I think that, that it's really hard to quantify it down to just one song that's on the CD, as much as it is the entire concept of the CD, where the entire concept really revolves around the fact Church of the Twisted Prophet, the whole thing really came about because of thinking about how wealth, power, and politics is the new religion. And that's kind of the thing where, and I know some people have said to me when I've said it to them, well, that's not new, but I think it's becoming publicly aware now, where it might not be new, but I think everybody's starting to realize that, this is what's happening. Wealth, power, and politics are taking over even the everyday lives of Joe Schmo, who's just trying to go to work, but he's arguing with his wife, or he's arguing with his brother-in-law, or something about politics and what's going on today in the world. And that's what they want. They want us fighting with each other. They really don't want us standing together, because it's like Sun Tzu, Art of War, divide and conquer. They really want you divided, and if you're divided, you can't, focus on them and what they're doing. And basically what they're doing is just, taking us to the cleaners as we the people, and we basically sit back and let them. We need to be accountable for our inaction, because we have no action. We haven't done anything. And they've so successfully divided us to where we're fighting every day with our friends and our relatives and everybody about politics and about what's going on in this country, when we really should be trying to figure out how we fix these problems.
Now, what challenges have you had as a band, like a newer band?
Probably one of the largest challenges right now is like the heavy metal scene, and I guess what's kind of going on in the heavy metal scene. How do I want to put this? There's a movement in the heavy metal scene of, death metal and really heavy metal, to where you really don't, I guess, how I sing, I kind of sing old school. I guess they call it old school metal. Like you said, there's so many influences, the Judas Priest and the Iron Maiden. I grew up when I wanted to vocally sing, I wanted to sing. And I was influenced by, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Halloween, Queen's Reich, these type of bands. So then I took that aspect with my social aspect, trying to put this together, and that's how I kind of came up with my style and everything. And at the end of the day, that's kind of why I do what I do and the way I do it. So back to what you're asking about the scene in the heavy metal, or the challenges. There's a challenging thing right now where it's like when we play and we do our stuff, people know that we're, kind of good at what we do or whatever, but it's almost like nobody's doing that anymore. Or, it's like, okay, that's been done before, not that we want to hear something new or different, because what we're doing is certainly new or different. It's almost like they want to hear the same old stuff, and you're trying to do something a little different with that old style to bring it into something new. And we've met some, people that are resistant to that. But what's funny is, we're coming around now, and I think there's a change in music coming, and I think there's a revolution in music coming, that basically people want to hear something new and something different, and maybe with a little bit of the old school and these references of some of the older stuff that they can remember that they liked, along with some new twists. And that's kind of what we're going for, is having a new sound, but still referencing some of the old school stuff that, really influenced us.
I see that. I see what you mean, though. I mean, the different things right now in heavy metal is just off for me. I can't even explain it, but that was summed up perfectly, very much so. Now, this is actually my favorite question to ask anybody that I talk with. If you had the chance to collaborate with any musician, dead or alive, who would it be?
John Lennon.
Nice. Good answer. Good answer.
Thank you.
Why? Tell me why.
He was such a masterful lyricist, and he understood human nature, and he could touch people with his music, and that's what I hope I can do.
Great answer. Now, what kind of music do you listen to these days?
It's kind of funny because I don't listen to a whole lot of music because I've been so wrapped up in what I'm doing, but I still oftentimes find myself going, looking for some of the new releases of some of the older people that I love. I mean, and I shouldn't say older because they'll probably be offended if they were listening right now, but Halloween just put out a really good album, and their last two albums, in fact, maybe even three albums, were terrific. I went back and I've had the opportunity to check them out, and so I've listened to some Halloween. The new Megadeth album is unbelievable. He has this new guitarist, Kiko, and I know some people are going to be like, new, he's been around for a while, but this new Megadeth lineup and what Megadeth is doing, Dave Mustaine and Dave Ellefson, is just amazing. The new Megadeth album is amazing. So between I guess I've been listening to the new Megadeth and listening to, some of the new Halloween and that stuff. I had an opportunity to peruse the new Judas Priest release too. So and the new Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah, those sound like awesome albums to check out. I'll have to do that. I like them all. Now, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start up their own band?
Be aware that there's obstacles out there and people that may even be really close to you that don't believe in you, and that's okay. It's okay that they don't believe in you. You have to believe in yourself before you make anybody believe in you.
Wow, that was deep. That was good. I like that. Now, what's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten about the music business?
Stay hungry. Stay hungry, yeah. It's important that, and there's two actually, it goes hand in hand. I'm going to throw two at you. One is stay hungry, and then live, always leave them wanting more.
That works too. That's good attitude to have for sure.
Right.
Now, do you have any upcoming shows you could shed a light on?
Yeah, tomorrow we're actually playing the Voodoo Room at the House of Blues here in San Diego. On August 17th, we're playing in Santa Ana at Malone's with Power Glove. That'll be a really good show. We're currently probably playing the Whiskey A Go-Go here. I've got to get everything together, but we've been offered the Whiskey A Go-Go on September 28th with Growling Pool. And
wow.
yeah, right. and in October, we're back at the Brick by Brick in San Diego, opening for Graham Bonnet, who used to be with Rainbow.
Wow.
Well, that was yeah, pretty good, right? And then
Right.
Tuesday,
No
this last Tuesday, we just finished the show. This last Tuesday, we had the opportunity to play with Flotsam and Jetsam.
Now, can you tell us where people can find your music?
Absolutely. They can find all of Killing Tyranny's music on all digital outlets, Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, basically anywhere digital music is sold, you can find it. You can also go to our website, killingtyrannytheband.org. And it will lead you, there's links on there that will lead you to where you can buy it, or you can actually get a physical CD. You have to allow 6 to 8 weeks, and you do a PayPal thing, and we get that off to you. So basically, that's how you get the stuff. Also, you can go to our Facebook page, of course, facebook.com/Killing Tyranny, and that will also guide you to these areas of where you can buy the merchandise and stuff like that. And I hope that everybody who's listening today will go check us out, go check out those pages, go on Facebook and like us, and hopefully give us a shout out.
Awesome. Of course, you're going to have a phone call in the middle of an interview. Was there anything in this interview that we didn't cover that you would like to mention to our listeners and your fans?
Basically, I'd just like to say that I'd like to thank everybody who has supported us and who supports the new music and the people that are out there trying to make their own way. I'd like to thank Capricorn Studios, who helped us put together the both CDs, and I've worked really closely with. We're currently working on videos. We got some videos we're working on. One is for Douche, and then there's another one that is in the works too. We're not exactly sure when, so I don't want to say which one because that might get sidelined. But having said that, we expect the video to be out here within the next 30 days on all the social media and the YouTube. And you can, again, find us on YouTube, check us out on YouTube, see some of the current videos we have. Some of them are some low production stuff. This next one that's coming out is going to be a little better because, as we, I guess you'd say, climb the rungs of the ladder, we have the ability to network and find better people who are better at their craft, and we can put out better video and better product.
George, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me tonight. It's been awesome. For all of our listeners, check out Killing Tyranny. And again, you can find their music on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Amazon. If you like it hard and heavy, this band is for you. This is Misti-Dawn with the Manamal Stream Radio. Talk soon.
Thank you, Misty.